Episode 30. That's 33. 30. Exciting time. Glad you guys made it to episode 30. Picking up a few more subscribers. A lot more views going in. I made some submissions to YouTube for the EDU section of YouTube. So maybe I get moved into the EDU section. That'll be kind of dope. But we got a great question from a Facebook person. Sim Paul sent me a message on Facebook. Asked me this question. Hold up. We'll come back after the theme music. I give you a question. I want you guys to hold on. Let's get into this because it's a really good one and it's perfect for episode. Come on back after the theme song. So, episode 30, we get back into the sneakers, get back to the kicks. It's important because what? My biggest business is sneakers. Much as I do the publishing and everything else, the sneakers. So, I got a submitted question from Sim Paul. And Sim Paul Simon sent me this message through Facebook. And it's a good question. And it's one that I think a lot of people are interested in. And what I think occurs is people are afraid to ask questions sometimes. But here's the question. I have an original design for a sneaker. What do you suggest in regard to making that happen? Now, Sim Paul goes on to say that he's been looking at China through Alibaba, and he asked, do I have any suggestions? I do have suggestions. I have good information for you. I think it's good information. But the first thing is, I don't know if you've been actually trained, if you went to an art institute, or how do you do your renderings. We didn't really get into that conversation. But without getting into all of that, one of the coolest things that's happened is Dwayne Edwards. And I'm going to go to Facebook here just to make sure. Edwards founded what's called the Pensole Academy, right? And he used to be one of the Jordan brand guys. He used to work at Nike. He's legendary in the sneaker game. Very important guy. But Pensole is an academy that you can apply for and you go into, and they're going to teach you all about the footwear business. Okay? I would suggest applying for Pensole. I would also suggest going to different websites and looking at renderings and joining communities and talking with people about shoe design, writing people like myself or writing people like one of my mentors, who I call a virtual mentor, Dallas Stokes. Checking out what he's doing. He's now back with And1. He was there before, but he's legendary. He's actually approachable online. You can write him and he'll respond when he has time. So don't write him with no bull, but you get where I'm going with this. A lot of the guys in the sneaker industry are approachable. You can reach out and talk with these people. So you can reach out and talk to people. Now you're asking me about production because obviously I have a shoe company and I have shoes in production. So your question, and like I said, it's a good question, is how do you go about, what do I suggest in regard to you and this original sneaker design? Possibly submit it to some companies, man, and see what happens with it. But if you're looking at going into production and doing your own shoe company, just because you see a guy like me and people say, oh, well, he did it, I can do it too. You really have to. I have a sneaker store, and that sneaker store is what funds my shoe company. My shoe company is not profitable. Anybody, I tell people the truth. If you ask me, I'm going to tell you the truth. My sneaker company is not profitable. It actually pulls money away from the profitable business that I actually run. It makes me lose money. But I continue to do it because, one, it's a passion. Two, I want to create something that is affordable, but it's dope, that people can wear it and they're going to like wearing it and they're going to feel confident that it can perform. Or if it's a walking shoe, that it's going to be a nice, sturdy walking shoe, and it's going to be at a great price point. Now, there are other companies doing the same thing. I don't have a special technology or anything else, but I will continue to make the shoes. I may stop, but I will continue to make them because I feel like I am adding something to the market. Okay? But let's get into this question. you have a design and it's laid out. Do not start writing, people. All right. The big thing is, I know it's you want to be excited about what you're doing and you want to get into it and start getting it and pushing it out there. But if you don't have any money, don't start writing people, man, because you can't get anything accomplished. You can try and set everything up that you want to set up, but with shoe production, it's expensive. All right. You have molds and you have to make samples. And if you don't have enough money to create a sample costs between $1,500 and $3,000. All right, that's a sample. That's one shoe. That's a size 9 typically. All right, so you make a size 9. This is one of my samples for the shoe that I called the Allen. And I ended up making this in, I think, 9 different colors, right? So that's $1,500. This is the Tory. This was my first full-on production shoe. That's the Tory, $1,500. It's a basketball shoe because I got excited and I wanted to get back into basketball kicks, right? $1,500. Look at the outsole. Same outsole, didn't cost me. Similar design, different outsole, $1,500. Running shoe, last shoe, but this one was funded by Kickstarter. So I saved money on it. I didn't have to pay for it. Plus, I used a similar outsole to the one that I used on this shoe, $1,500. You get where I'm going here? You're talking about close to $10,000 without having anything in inventory. All right. So what you have is a situation where you need $1,500 to $3,000 depending on the mold. That mold, depending on the detail, it could drop down and be $1,000 for the outsole of the shoe. All of your cost is in the rubber or the foam or EVA or whatever you're using for the outsole of the shoe. That's where all of your cost is. It's in the outsole. All right. So depending on the detail, you can go from $1,000 to $2,000, but think about $1,500 to $3,000 to create a sample. You have to have a well thought out plan for distribution. You need deep pockets, and you have to have those pockets to be deep enough to make half a case at the minimum, because what happens when you make a shoe, you have to make a minimum order quantity, and that minimum order quantity is typically 2,400 pair. You can get some companies that will allow you to do 1,200 pair, and you have some companies that may let you go down as low as 600 pair. Now, when I first started making my shoes, I paid for my molds and I paid for the production of my shoes up front. So before I ever made a shoe, I had paid in almost $30,000, say, right? So all of this money was basically gone. I had been sending money back and forth over to China, just sending it back and forth, sending it. So I could have the ability to do limited runs. Now, I even opened that up to the fact that I let other people use my connection that I had paid for to make limited runs, and they abused that situation. So I no longer do that. So you have to make a minimum order quantity. You can get down as low as 600, but even at 600, you're talking about $28 a pair. So let's say 600 times 28 is $16,800. So let's say minimum, you're going to need $16,800 in your pocket, and you're going to have to send half of that $8,400 to the manufacturer to get your shoes into production. Now you have to pay them that other $8,400 before they'll pack those shoes up and ship them, and you land them in the United States. And that's going to be a completely different cost as well, because you got taxes and duties. You need about 20 grand before you even think about getting started on launching a shoe company. And that's at the lowest end. All right. Now you're still going to need space to warehouse all of these shoes that you make. All right. And you're going to have a warehouse, because if the sales are slow, then you have to be able to hold on, keep those shoes in inventory without trying to drop the price, so you can raise the price back up and do all of these different things. So let's say 16,000, 20,000 is what you need. Now you can't avoid the cost of creating a new mold by using existing molds from different companies. All right. But even if you avoid that cost, you may drop your fees down from $1,500 to maybe $1,000. So you're still going to be at the $1,000 point for a sample, just to get a size 9 sample in. All right. You're going to have to trademark your brand. And everybody thinks trademarking is easy. It's not easy. You may have to get a lawyer to help you through the trademarking process, and you still may fail your trademark. So you're talking a $750 fee to try to trademark. And if you fail, you're going to have to pay that $750 fee again. If you fail it, you're going to have to pay it again. You get what I'm saying? It gets expensive. But if you can pass it the first time, hooray, you did a good thing. You're lucky. Now you have a slogan. You're going to have to trademark that as well. Let's get to the real gist of what we're going for here in this conversation. The most important thing you need is a reason for what you're doing. If you don't have a reason, then you need to start asking more questions about what you're doing. I have to ask these questions. Have you ever sold shoes before? I don't care if it's not your own personal shoe. Have you sold a pair of Nikes before? Do you understand what the market does, how it fluctuates, how it changes, how trends shift? Do you understand that stuff? Do you have a reason for making what is probably already available? Are you financially able to make a sample and then follow through on the production? Because it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to make a sample and then not go through with production, because now you're out of $1,500 to $3,000 and it's just gone and you don't make anything, and it becomes the basketball debacle for myself. Me making 4 different styles of a shoe and I never actually released a shoe. It's a complete waste of money, and you lose that money. You don't get that back. It doesn't come back to you. Unless I eventually release this shoe, I'm just out of this money. It's gone. All right. Have you studied the market? Do you know where you can make your shoes? Can you make your shoes in Mexico? Can you make your shoes in Italy? Can you make your shoes in China? Can you make your shoes in the United States? Because you can, certain styles. Are you prepared to travel to the place where you're having your shoes made so you can do QA and check the quality of the last, check the quality of the molds, make sure everything's up to par before you pay for it and then it ships over and it's the wrong size? I made a shoe recently and the shoe came in and it was supposed to be size 8 through size 13. It ended up being size 7 through size 12, and the sizes were labeled wrong because it was supposed to be 8 through 13. How do I fix that? I figured it out, but it was a complex situation for me because I paid for them under the premise that I was making 8 through size 13. I did not fly over to the manufacturer and make sure everything was okay. Big mistake on my part. All right. There's a lot to consider. But if you do have everything together and you have $20,000 to $30,000 sitting around that you want to invest into your business, then start Googling, start talking to manufacturers, start writing people and getting everything in a row. Make sure you have it all listed out, exactly what you want to do. Ask questions, write people like me, write people like Dallas Stokes or Dwayne Edwards. Write these people and see if they'll write you back, if they have the time to answer you. These guys are very busy. I'm not that busy, all right? I don't have a whole lot on my plate. I can respond to you, but it may not be what you want to hear, and it may not be what you want to hear from anyone. Because when we have a dream, we want to pursue and follow that dream. I'm not telling you this to knock your dream out. I'm telling you this because you need to be prepared for everything to make that dream come into fruition. All right. So I hope this helps a little bit. Episode 30. Man, I'm glad we made it to episode 30. I'm glad I made it to episode 30. I'm glad you guys are watching. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe below. If you want to send questions, take the time, go to any other websites. I'm actually going to put the email in the description down here, so you can go to it and you can write me if you want to write me. But I hope everyone's doing fantastic out there. I appreciate the interest. The views are starting to go up a little bit more. Don't have a whole lot of subscribers, but I think that's coming. We'll see. I appreciate you guys. Thanks, Paul, for a great question. And I appreciate you for making number 30 happen. Peace.